If you're running an e-commerce business of any sort and you're looking for funding to help get inventory, to help pay for softwares, to help pay for advertising, this is the video to watch, my friends. Let's dive into it. Okay, so Ecom, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that we can do this. So this is anything with Shopify, anything with a dedicated store, and then we're gonna pay for traffic on TikTok, Instagram, influencer ads, whatever, to get traffic to that store to then sell a product. So that also means that we probably got Alibaba or AliExpress samples that we've at least bought. We've got those expenses to pull into the mix. If we're doing t-shirts, we're probably using something like Printify, so we don't have expenses, meaning like we gotta go buy a bunch of blank t-shirts. Is being fulfilled on the back end. I would argue that the quality of those tees are like not that great, so I'd look to something else. That's the business, right? Like we're trying to sell something online, we're trying to test this idea really, really quick. This is still a very popular business model, regardless of how many people are saying that it's completely swamped out and overcrowded, right? Or dead or whatever, right? Understand that that's been going on with make money methods since the beginning of time. Back in 2011, when this stuff was first starting to pop off, believe me, people would say SEO is dead, this method is dead, it doesn't work anymore, every single day. Okay, so enough of that, let's dive into it. Do you want more data points like this sent directly to your inbox? It is walletmonkey.substack.com, and I promise you, it's all killer, no filler. We deliver the sauce on a regular basis. It's not every single day to your inbox, but it is weekly, and we cover a lot of stuff that we don't cover here on the channel. There is some crossover, of course, and like I said, it's completely free. Scroll down once you get there and check it out. I guarantee you will be happy, and we want you to join us. So the link is in the description below. Again, walletmonkey.substack.com. We'll see you in there. All right, back to the video. So where do we begin? If you're having issues with your monthly float, or if you've tried out a couple ideas and now you're out of cash flow and you need something to bridge you so that you can keep trying to test out ideas before you find those winners, well, that's why you'd want to do something like this. So let's talk about where the personal credit needs to be at. All right, let's take a look. So this is the framework that we essentially use, and I'm going to give you all kinds of little pieces to adjust this and make it better, right? So the issue that I see with the credit space in general is that, once a guy has helped somebody and he figures out a way to do it, regardless of what that looks like, he wants everyone to be at the same. So he wants everyone to be at 725 or everyone to be at 750 or whatever, right? It's because he found a way that works. That doesn't necessarily mean you've got to be exactly there to get business credit funding, because technically we can start at 685, right? So 685, we can start to get business credit immediately because we just personal guarantor on it, meaning that we put up our name and our information and our social security number. The issue is that you're gonna get really bad limits. You're gonna get low limits even for business credit. Business credit, the reason why we want that is because we're gonna get higher limits, right? So anyway, you could start at 685. Understand that's like the bare minimum with banks, but you wanna really be over 720, okay? 700, 720, we start to get better limits, right? We start to get treated better. Just like if I've got a thicker file, a thicker credit file, I'm gonna be treated better than somebody with a thin file. What is a thick file? A thick file is a diverse file, meaning that there's a good amount of credit trade lines, there's a good amount of installment loans, there's a mortgage, there's a auto loan on there. They wanna see that you're like a regular person who's taken on a regular amount of debt, which I know is weird because you would think that if I didn't have those things, it'd make me look better because I'm less of a flight risk. No, they actually consider you a higher flight risk. Okay, so we want to have a thick file. A thin file is considered 5 open accounts or less. So we want to be somewhere between the 7 to 10 open credit accounts or open trade lines on our personal credit file. We also want to have somewhere between $30,000 to $60,000 in trade lines active on our account. If you don't have that right now, the good news is that there's a sizable amount of fintechs that you could go check out that will give you the amount that you're approved for before they even hard pull, or there's no hard pull at all. There's Truist, there's FMBO, there's actually over 80 banks that you could pre-qualify for right now without any impact to your credit report and see your odds are to get approved before you even pull the trigger. So if we just go over to walletmonkey.io, we would actually come over here to soft pull offers, and it is soft pull pre-qualified credit card offers complete list. Like I said, there's over 80, so that's where you'd want to go for that. Next, we want to make sure that there's no recent derogatories, meaning no recent late payments. That would be bad. If you have recent late payments and it's actually hit your profile, you've probably seen your credit score drop 50 to 100 points. Those lates are very hard to get off. We want to call them up, use a goodwill letter, and get those removed, especially if it's the first time you're doing it. Otherwise, you're going to have a substantial amount of stated income and be making moves to build up a relationship with the banks before you try to pull the trigger. Relationship banking. Okay, Next, you want to be at 5 inquiries or less across your Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, meaning you could have 5 on each one or less, not 5 total or less. Make sense? And it's just because most banks like to see 7 or less. I say 5 or less just because it's better, right? And it's going to put you in position as you start to get some inquiries, especially if you got to build up your personal credit still to get yourself into position to get business funding. Make sense? Okay, hope I haven't lost you yet. If you have inquiries to get rid of, we've got a video on the channel. We've got a whole section in the Discord if you want to get involved there. So there's options for you. All right, so now we've covered the personal credit baseline. Let's now start to cover funding. Your best bet actually is to get sole proprietor credit. And I know that there's like this big back and forth, I guess, online between like, is sole proprietor credit worth it? Or let's just go and get funding for an LLC and an actual business entity. Let me explain it to you really quick. Sole proprietor is simply that we are designating ourselves as a business. This is the way that we use it anyways. You can actually set up a sole proprietor business with an EIN, with a Dun & Bradstreet number, if you wanted to. We don't. So we use our personal name, our social security number, our personal address, and our stated income, as well as we use projected income for the business on what we're expecting to make. That's how we fill out the credit applications. Like that's the sauce, that's the secret right there. And then because it is technically a business, but trading under our own name, we're gonna get 2 things, 2 big benefits. It's not gonna show up on our personal credit report, so they're basically ghosted cards because they're considered business cards, so they're not gonna report to credit. And we're gonna get higher limits because business credit cards usually come with higher limits. Make sense? So I mean, I've seen guys, to give you an example, I've seen guys get a $31,000 Chase Sapphire card by using sole proprietor. I've seen guys get $50,000 cards. So that's the benefit of using that. And that's the simplest because I don't have to go and set up an entity. I don't have to pay for all this. To spin up an LLC, I'd say on the low end, you could maybe get away with like $400 on the high end, or like, I guess, more what you could expect is probably closer to 1,000, especially if we got to set up offices and get mailing addresses and virtual offices and all that. If we got to set all that stuff up, then you're probably closer to 1,000, if not more, right? But if we're going to go super bootstrap, we just need the EIN, Dun & Brad, and we don't even care about the address, probably a couple $100, right? We use Northwest, which is $39 for an LLC to set up. Really, really cheap compared to $150 with LegalZoom. But here's where you would go for that. So if we come back to walletmonkey.io and go to business credit, check this out. Everything that I need to set up a business credit profile is right here. Let's just let this load up really quick. All right, here it is right here. We just updated this for 2023. Of course, we got a dedicated video on the channel if you want to dig back through and find that. This walks you through everything that you got to do from step 1 all the way to, what is there, 16 total steps. And that involves setting up some trade lines if you want to start doing that. Again, that's a whole different topic. But for $1,000 or less, you can spin up your LLC, even cheaper if you're going to go bootstrap. This outlines the entire process of what to do. Now we're in position with a brand new LLC to start getting credit. We're gonna PG on these trade lines, by the way. So we're gonna put our name on them and use our personal income to help sway the approval odds of the application, as well as we're gonna use projected income for the business. Now, we can get away with this for a very long time, probably the first year or two, before they're gonna start asking questions like, hey, this is a multi-year business now and there's still no revenue, blah, 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 right? So again, it'll give you plenty of time to set this up and get business funding so that you can continue your ecom business, right? So that's it. Those are the steps. At that point, we'll have the EIN, we'll have everything that we need to then apply and get these business trade lines and get back to work on our business, like I said. So hopefully that will buy you more time, a bigger window, so that you can continue to test out product ideas and hopefully find that winner. If you got questions, comment below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey, you should subscribe. 60% of you are not subscribed yet, right there. Okay, bye.